Hello there, everyone. Welcome to Brew Jackets. It's a fun Blue Jackets themed podcast. My name is Kevin, and join me tonight is my co-host Hefty Duck. And as always, we always invite all of our friends to come on the show. What if they do or don't? Different story. Always next time. But anyways, for today's show, we're doing a season review. As we look back at the season that was for the Blue Jackets, we're going to talk about the good moments, the bad moments, everything in between, and so much more. And what do the Blue Jackets do next? What is that next step for the Blue Jackets? We're going to talk about that. I also have some jersey concepts to share, and then also have a video from the Blue Jackets to share. They're getting a new owner. They're in the process of getting a new owner, and we're going to talk about that as well. But the main focus of this show is just going to be a season in review, looking back at the season that the Blue Jackets just had, the good, the bad, and everything in between. So that's what we're going to talk about, and I'm looking forward to talking about it. So welcome to the show, everyone.
Hell yeah, welcome in everybody. Thanks for everyone being here. We're always grateful for our viewers, any sort of viewers we get. We love you. If you two would like to, if you'd like to listen to us rather than watching us, you can find us on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share wherever you're watching that from YouTube or Twitter. You can always catch the replays on either of our YouTubes or Twitters. Either one, check us out. We got links anywhere you're watching us from on our profile, so check that out. Yeah, real quick before we dive into the Blue Jackets season review, I want to talk about a related team, and that is the Cleveland Monsters. Last night or yesterday, I believe, the Cleveland Monsters beat the Toronto Marlies in the second of two overtimes, with 55 seconds left to go to knock them out of the Calder Cup playoffs.
Yes.
The next game for the Cleveland Monsters will be against the Laval Rockets, which, as many people may know, is coached by none other than former Blue Jackets coach Pascal Vincent. They are the AHL affiliate for the Montreal Canadiens, who's also the team that kind of knocked the Blue Jackets out at the end of the season there for contention for the wild card. So, a couple of interesting things at play if you want to, watch how the Monsters do against former Blue Jackets coach Pascal Vincent. I think he won like an award this year in the AHL as well. Like he's not like a bad coach by any means. There's a reason he got hired, but like it just didn't work out. Whatever the hell was going on.
It's just he got put in. Pascal Vincent got put into a bad situation. All off season, last off season, he is working with Mike Babcock and the other assistant coaches to be an assistant coach. And then obviously a couple days before training camp starts, the Mike Babcock, phone shenanigans situation happens, and that was the end of that. And then the Blue Jackets, if we're being honest with ourselves, did Pascal Vincent dirty by just throwing him to the wolves and saying, all right, here you go. And he was just, unfortunately, he did do some stuff, that wasn't good, but some of it was good, some of it was bad, but a lot of it's just, I just think, in my opinion, he was in a spot that he just was never going to win it, and he just wasn't ready for it because he just kind of got thrown into it. And he has a history of being a good coach with all these different levels, from juniors to minor leagues and so much more. I just don't think he was quite ready for it. Not necessarily his fault. The Blue Jackets kind of did him dirty there, but hey, it is what it is. And, I have a feeling he'll do better if he gets another chance, because now he knows and he'll be better, prepared. But
Yeah, well,
that's besides the point.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't do better in the game against Cleveland. Hope he
Well,
loses
that's
horribly.
right.
No
Yeah,
offense. I mean,
yeah,
it's the
yeah,
team I'm rooting for against a team I'm not. So,
yeah, yeah.
um, you know, good luck, motherfucker. Anyway, so their game is going to be played either Wednesday, April 30th, or Thursday, May 1st, according to Mark Scheig.
It's
So probably,
all depends on what happens with the Cavs.
yeah, and them being in playoffs and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, they gotta juggle that when they share the arena up there at the Quicken Loans Arena. So yeah,
But
we'll
go
probably post.
go Cavs. Best of luck in the playoffs.
Hell yeah, go Cavs, go Monsters. At least there's something in Cleveland we can root for right now after that draft. Full of jokes. Anyway, so
Yeah.
congrats to them. Moving on.
Right.
So, this past season for the Blue Jackets, we saw a huge jump in progress and ranking in almost every facet of the Blue Jackets. They have been way so last season, just for an example, last season the Blue Jackets finished 29th overall in the entire league, 29th. This season they moved up 9 spots and they ended up finishing 20th overall. Obviously, the 1 spot out of the wild card race. In the conference, they ended up in the ninth as well in the conference, middle of the pack there. When many people were predicting, bottom third, bottom quarter, something like that. And, I'll be the first to admit that I was probably among one of those. I just, after we saw how last season ended, the last several seasons ended,
Mhm.
and then with the addition of the tragedy of Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Gaudreau, it just really put a damper on what I thought the season was going to be. But huge props to the players for doing what they did, working through all that and coming out on top. Yeah, they missed the playoffs, but dude, missing the talking about the playoffs at game 81 is nuts when we're thinking about what the last 2 years. All we were talking about was the fucking draft. Dude, I'm so glad I'm not talking about the first picks of the draft again. I just it was nice and I loved getting Adam Fantilli, but holy shit, dude, could we not for one season be at the bottom of the totem pole? And they came through and they delivered with that.
Right.
So congrats to
Yeah.
Dean Evanson and everything like that. So
Mhm.
Kevin's got some graphics here for us to go over. So
Right.
take it away.
Yeah, so part of our season review, we're going to be looking at the stuff that the Blue Jackets were good at, stuff that they were not good at and need to improve on. And then we're just saying, okay, what's next for the Blue Jackets? Where do they go from here? Because there was so much positive energy and positive momentum that the Blue Jackets had and they built this season. Where do you go from there? And we're going to get into that as well. But for now, we're going to start off with what were the Blue Jackets good at? Why were they in the spot that they were, which is being a team that was competitive and fighting for a playoff spot until game 81 of the 82 game season. So I'll go down this list. What were the Blue Jackets good at? Scoring goals.
Hell yeah.
Just ridiculously good at scoring goals.
They're number 3 in the whole league.
Scoring goals is hard. Scoring 6 goals is even harder. The Blue Jackets did that 15 times. They scored 6 goals 15 times.
Wow, really? I knew it was a lot, but holy shit.
Yeah. 6 goals. Wow. The Blue Jackets scored 6 goals 15 times. Just ridiculously good. So
273 total goals for the season, behind the Caps 288 and behind the Lightning's 294.
So, well, all right. Well, I guess that's wrong then because I got that all whatever. But so 26.6.
I'm sorry, that's in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah. All right. So 26.6% on the power play at home. Again, the Blue Jackets were ridiculously good scoring goals, especially on the power play at home. That was basically a almost guaranteed goal when they went on the power play at home. Just ridiculously good. The Blue Jackets set a record for most goals in Blue Jackets history with 267. Again, really good at scoring goals. The Blue Jackets were top 10 in scoring, number 8 in the NHL. They were one of the best 5-on-5 teams in the NHL. They were really good at home. 26 of their 40 wins this season were at home. So if you played the Blue Jackets at home, there's a good chance that you were not winning that one. Blue Jackets just ridiculously good at home. The Blue Jackets were good in shootouts. They went 5-1. So basically, 9 times out of 10, if the Blue Jackets were in a shootout and you were playing the Blue Jackets, you were not winning that. The Blue Jackets were basically going to win 9 times out of 10 if they got to a shootout. Elvis Merzlikins, he really stepped it up in the shootout. He went 5-0. He did not lose a shootout. And, and we'll get to this later on in the show with my other slide, but, Elvis Merzlikins, he did step it up. He was better, but for whatever reason, when it came to the shootout, he just stepped it up and basically was like God tier. Just like, I'm just going to win this and you're not going to score on me. So he was just ridiculously good in the shootout. 5-0, and Blue Jackets were 5-1 in the shootout. So that's good. A lot of good positive stuff that the Blue Jackets did. And, again, Adam Fantilli really stepped it up. Kirill Marchenko, Ken Johnson, Zach Rancy played really good. And just a lot of their guys, their talent, especially their young up-and-coming talent, really stepped it up. So that's that slide. And now we're going to move on to what do the Blue Jackets have to improve on?
Yeah, my bad with that stat. They were number 3 in the division.
Yeah. So what do the Blue Jackets need to improve on? Their defense. They need to improve on their defense. That being said, their defense did get better. It was better than last season, so you have to give them credit there. It was better, but at times this season, the defense let the Blue Jackets down. There's a reason when you look back at a game and the Blue Jackets lost that game, you could look back and say, man, dang, if that one goal that you gave up there in the game, that really made the difference there. If you just didn't give up that goal, you were fine. Or there's just moments in a game where you're playing good and then it gets away from you. You give up two or three goals just like that. And that was the game right there. So, got to get better on defense. The Blue Jackets were ranked number 25 out of 32 teams for goals against. You just can't do that. And as good as the Blue Jackets were on offense, and that was so fun to watch, where the Blue Jackets would just smoke teams by just kicking the crap out of them, by just, scoring 4, 5, 6 goals on them. As good as that was, and that was fun, they also gave up their fair share of goals, and you can't do that. You just can't. Penalty kill. The Blue Jackets need to be better on the penalty kill. They were ranked 22nd out of 32. And there's that stretch in the season where the penalty kill was absolutely awful, where it really let the Blue Jackets down, and they'd give up a goal or two on the penalty kill, and that's why they would lose the game, because of that. Now, they did win some games where the penalty kill wasn't very good, and, they gave up a goal or two. But for the most part, the penalty kill needs to be better. Yeah. Goaltending, it needs to be better. Again, Elvis Merzlikins, you were good, and you were much better than last season. You really stepped it up. You are a big reason why the Blue Jackets were in the position that they were, which is 88 points, missed the playoffs by 1 game. There were moments where Elvis Merzlikins looked really good. He earned the starting job. And there are games that the Blue Jackets won because of Elvis Merzlikins and Danil Tarasov. But still not good enough, because there are games that the Blue Jackets lost because, unfortunately, you let in a goal or two that you probably shouldn't have, but you did.
Yeah.
So you need to be better with the goaltending. Whether that, and Jet Greaves, he looked good. We'll see if that continues, but whether that means that next season you have Elvis Merzlikins and Danil Tarasov and you need them to be better, or if that means that you have a Jet Greaves, Elvis Merzlikins, and you need Merzlikins to be better. Or, Tarasov, Jet Greaves, whatever. Or they go out and get a guy, and maybe they buy out Elvis Merzlikins. Point being, it needs to be better. What also needs to be better? The power play on the road was absolutely awful. It just was. For majority of the season, it was awful. There were moments in the game where if the Blue Jackets lost that game on the road, it's because they had chances to score on the power play and they couldn't get it done. And then you go back and you look at that game and you go, damn, you should, if you would have scored there in that power play, or you had that chance there, you could have won that game. So road power play needs to be better. I do not understand why the Blue Jackets were so good on the power play at home, but for whatever reason, the road power play was not good. So that needs to be better.
Yeah.
What also do the Blue Jackets need to improve on? The Blue Jackets had 2 6-game losing streaks. They had one in the month of November and they had one in the month of March. You can't do that. And it's because of that. That's why you're not in the playoffs. There's many reasons why, but that's one of the reasons. If you had won 1 or 2, just one of those games, you're in the playoffs. That's so you can't have 2 6-game losing streaks. You got to fix that. So got to fix that. What also do the Blue Jackets have to be better at? Their overtime record. They started their first 7 games in overtime, they went 1-6. That's unacceptable, and that's not going to get it done. Because again, if you had won some of those games when you had the chance in overtime, the Blue Jackets are in the playoffs, and we're doing a show right now probably talking about some of the games that the Blue Jackets have played in the playoffs.
Game 4 coming up, or Game 5 coming up, yeah.
Right, yes. So, but unfortunately, you started out bad in overtime. Now, as the season went along, the Blue Jackets got better at overtime. They got more wins. But because of that 1-6 hole, that 1-6 record, you really dug yourself a hole there when it comes to overtime games. So that needs to be better. What also do the Blue Jackets have to be better at? They need to get more wins on the road. The Blue Jackets were not very good on the road this season. They only got 12 wins. 12 wins, let's see here, 14 wins on the road. 14 of their 40 wins were on the road. That's not good enough. You need to do better. Again, I don't understand it why it was like this, but for whatever reason, when the Blue Jackets were at home, 9 times out of 10, they were really good and they would win and they would smoke these teams at home. And then when they get to the road, 9 times out of 10, they would lose and would not play good. I don't understand why that is, but that's just how it is. So the Blue Jackets need to get better on the road, get more wins on the road. What else do the Blue Jackets have to be better at? They need to be better on the second half of back-to-backs. The Blue Jackets went 2-10 on the second half of back-to-backs. That's unacceptable, and that's not going to get it done. You cannot do that. Because again, if you win some of those games, the Blue Jackets are in the playoffs. The first half of the back-to-back, the Blue Jackets were much better. But when it came to the second half of the back-to-back, the Blue Jackets would lose, generally speaking. And their only 2 wins was an overtime win in Utah, and in which that entire game, the Blue Jackets were playing awful. And the only reason they got that win in overtime is because they had a 2-goal third period to tie it, to get them to overtime. And then eventually Zach Werenski shoots and scores in overtime. Blue Jackets win. And then the second win on the back-to-back was the game against the Capitals, that home-and-home series that they had in April, where the Blue Jackets smoked the Capitals 7-0 at home. And then the next day, the Blue Jackets played one of their best games on the road all season, where they absolutely dominated the Capitals 4-1. Those are your only 2 wins on the second half of a back-to-back. You need to get better at that. So there's so much stuff that they were good at and a lot of stuff that they're bad at that they need to get better at. So we'll start, Hefty Duck, I'll get you in here. We'll start with the what they were good at slide. You can talk about that, and then we'll get to the what they need to improve on slide.
For sure, yeah. Can you go back to that first slide? I'll make a couple points here. So scoring goals. Yes, the Blue Jackets were very good at scoring goals this year. I'm gonna kind of combine these two a little bit, but I'll just like go good and then the bad. So scoring goals, amazing. Letting goals in, not so great. 268 goals. So this is according to Hockey Reference, and let's do the whole league right here. Team statistics, 32 teams, goals for. Columbus Blue Jackets ranked 8th, tied with the Maple Leafs at 267 goals for. And goals against, 267. Is this correct? I literally just saw it had different numbers. Why does the one up here in the Metro Division? This is according to Hockey Reference. Team statistics. That doesn't make any sense to me. One says 273 and the other one says 267. In any case, it's too close. Yeah. You need a little bit, and unfortunately, many of those goals came in games where they were already getting behind.
Yeah.
And it just furthers the gap. So, as far as 5-on-5, it's amazing. I love to see it. They're so well that those top lines have been absolutely dominating out there. When you got those guys, you got Monahan out there, you got Marchenko out there. It's just top notch. Not to mention that you have a defenseman being the leading scorer and being the number 2 defenseman in the entire NHL. I just foresee that not going away with that. The unfortunate thing, though, is that their power kill, like you said, the power play on the road and their penalty kill. There was a time when they started out at the beginning of the year that their penalty kill was not bad.
Right.
I don't know if it was just something that other teams hadn't seen the Blue Jackets do because Dean Evason was coaching them, and then they figured it out, and then they just couldn't adapt throughout the rest of the season. Although there is the penalty, the special teams coaches. So I'm curious what's going to happen with the coaching staff on the off season. I don't think there's going to be any huge moves, but I think that already someone has signed somewhere else at this point. And I'll get back to you all on the exact name and who that was and what they were doing. But so I'd be interested to see how that can improve. I think in some ways we are still seeing some remnants left of Larson, Vincent, and Jarmo Kekalainen.
Mm-hmm.
And so not all of those remnants are horrible. Obviously, Jarmo signed some super talented young players, but there's still change happening. I can't believe that they made it this far in one freaking season. So winning at home was amazing. You got to do that for the fans. Butts in seats really helps just the bottom line. It helps the vibes. It helps everything. Especially like when certain close teams buy a lot of tickets. Penguins, Red Wings. This year the Caps bought a lot. It's so much nicer to see Blue Jackets fans taking over the stadium. I understand that with the Red Wings and Penguins, that before like the Blue Jackets, there was no real team to root for, an NHL team to root for in Ohio. So I get it, but you're in Columbus now, and you're at home, and if you're in Columbus, if you're a Blue Jackets fan, anyway. So I think it is helping the bottom line there. Personally, just winning, doing great at home. Love to see it. On the road, how to make them more comfortable? Is it just does traveling make people more tired? I'm sure it does to a certain extent, but what is the code to crack there? I don't know if it's strength and conditioning, nutrition, everything just needs to be amped up even more to get everyone on the same level, because there's players who are amazing no matter the game, no matter the time of year or anything, but just sometimes there's maybe people lagging behind a little bit. You can maybe jet lag, maybe like the brain's just back. Who knows? Gotta be better. That's definitely something to look at in the off season as well. So yeah, let's talk about this goaltending situation a little bit. 5-1 shootouts, amazing for the Blue Jackets. The Blue Jackets, let's see, they had shootout results. Kent Johnson, he had 6 attempts, he made 4, missed 2. Kirill Marchenko, 4 attempts, made 2, missed 2. Sean Monahan had 2 attempts, made 1, missed 1. Adam Fantilli made 2 and missed 5. And then Sivo had 2 attempts and missed both of those. I don't know that Severson would have been my pick twice for it, but maybe I don't know how practices goes. I'm not there. I'm busy. I have a full-time job. So like maybe if you get the opportunity there, like that's like, oh yeah, you'll be the first one up since like you did this. Like you obviously made it. Like you're good at it.
The reason I think he got picked is because last season he had a game-winning goal in the shootout against Pittsburgh.
Oh,
so yeah. I think that they remember. Obviously, like Dean Evison wasn't there, but like other guys within the Blue Jackets, they remember that and said, "Hey, this guy scored a game-winning goal in the shootout." So they probably told him that, like, "Hey, okay." And when you hear that, okay, that's something to keep in mind. That hey, for in a shootout, you got to give this guy a try.
Yeah. And who knows too? Like I don't know what exactly goes on behind closed doors. What Dean Evison says to the guys. Who knows? Maybe they got nominated by their players. I don't know. That's kind of how I used to do it. We used to do a bit in high school. Like you got to watch every other player practice. You get to watch every other player shoot, and the players know. I really think deep down the players know who should be going out there. And so maybe anyway. Shootout goalies. Elvis Merzlikins up against 14 attempts, only 1 made it in. 13 missed. Daniil Tarasov, out of 5 attempts, 1 made it in. 4 missed. Jack Reeves was not put up against any shootout situation. He was too much of a beast this year to let that happen. But you're right. The goaltending just. So I don't want to dog on anybody too hard because I do like the guy. As a person, he was always polite and nice whenever I was around for like interviews and stuff like that. But the numbers have not been there for him, and that's Daniil Tarasov. Mm-hmm. He has been the backup goaltender since 2022-2023 season. Well, so his very first season, he comes out, plays 4 games, started 3 of those games and lost 2 of them, and unfortunately has no wins that first season. Next season, 17 games played, 16 of those started, 4 wins, 11 losses. Next season, 24 games played, 23 of those started, 8 wins, 11 losses. which is very similar numbers to this year when he had 20 games, 19 of those started, 7 wins, 10 losses. So we're going from last year, 8 wins, 11 losses, to -1 in each category. And his save percentage dropped from this year to last. Last year, it was a 908 save percentage. This year, it's a 881. And his goals against average went up by 0.4. And he had the opportunity to play a lot more games than Jet Greaves. And I don't think it's quite fair to compare all of the same stats, but I mean, let's look at Jet Greaves' stats. This year, 7 wins, 2 losses. He got 7 wins in half the amount of games that Daniil Tarasov did. Save percentage of 938. He had to play nine NHL games last year, and he only had 3 wins, 6 losses. So boom, improvement already from last year. And what could we be seeing next year? Because Merzlikins has been the main goaltender for the last 4 seasons. He had split the one season kind of between him and Corpy, I believe, in 2019, 2020. And this last season, 53 games played, 52 started, 26 wins, 21 losses. So he had a positive record, which last year he played 41 games with 13 wins and 17 losses. So going from a losing record to a winning record, improvement. Love to see it. Save percentage, even though he has a better record this year, his save percentage went down. Now, save percentages across the board in the NHL have been going down over the past few years. If you look at all the statistics, it's not uncommon to see some drop by a point or two, a little bit, or 0.001 or something. So anyway, a 897 save percentage last year, 892 this year. Played in more games this year, so that average is going to be a lot more accurate, I think. Still had a positive win record, but there needs to be improvement. That in any case. And is Jet Greaves the answer? We need a bigger sample size, I think. But I mean, the way it looks, this guy's going to be a brick wall out there.
Mm-hmm.
So then what happens to Tarasov or Merzlikins, who currently has the better record, has the experience to be there, but also who doesn't want to be a number 2 goalie? Who said that blatantly last year and was very open and honest about, I'm the number 1 goalie. That's what I'm signed for. That's what I'm here to do. So man, there's going to be something happening, and not to mention there's some prospects in the works too with goaltending. But this is going to be something that has to be addressed this offseason. Jet Greaves does not have a 2-way contract next year. It's one way. It's an NHL contract. So like I said, small sample size, 11 games played, but 7 wins, 2 losses. Love to see it. Can you hit the next slide for me there, Kevin? I'll just notch on something here real quick. Yeah, I already mentioned the goals against, rough, penalty kill, suck, goaltending, power play. Yeah, the losing streaks. How do you break that? I literally just seen this woman. Oh man, I think I shared it on our Twitter. This woman, so for every win and every loss, she was knitting a blanket, a star-shaped blanket, and there was for like every win was like a blue strand, for every loss was a red strand, for every overtime win was white, and there was a section there. It was a huge chunk of the loss color, and it just it's a nice visual to like show you like, holy shit, that's a big chunk of the season. One of those, one single one of those games, like Kevin said, would have got them in the playoffs. One. So how do you break that? How do you get out of the mindset? How do you stop, looking down at the ground? I mean, shit, maybe it comes down to scheduling a little bit. Maybe don't put 7 road games in a row. That seems ridiculous because it's so much more cost efficient. It's better for the traveling, like you only travel once as opposed to like you travel out west like 5 times. That'd be rough. That'd be rough making that journey a lot. At the same time, I don't know if that could even be anything worth like trying to strategize. You know, they didn't play like the Senators till both games till like very end of the season. They didn't see them once.
Yep.
So I don't know
Oh,
if that's something you can strategize the schedule. And
that thing where you play where that similar thing happened with the Blue Jackets where they played Nashville in October and then they didn't see them till April. And the same thing happened with Colorado. The Blue Jackets played Colorado the second game of the season in October, and then they didn't see Colorado again until April. And it's just goofy how stuff like that happens. And then let's look at what happened with the Islanders. The Blue Jackets had 4 games against them this season. Their first home game against them was in October. I was at that game, and the Blue Jackets won 2-0. The Blue Jackets did not play a game at home against the Islanders until the last home game of the season in April. I just don't get some of the scheduling stuff, how goofy it is like that you know, because like you would look at every other division opponent that the Blue Jackets had, and it wasn't like that. You a game here, a game there, but it wasn't just so like ridiculously, spaced out like that.
And the Blue Jackets were given some of the fewest nationally broadcasted games too. I don't know if that has anything to do with how things have to be scheduled, or the schedule happens first and the broadcasting happens second. I'm sure that's probably how it works. But yeah, in any case, on the road, you got to figure it out along with these streaks. And I think that it clicked a couple times. They did break it a few times, but I think those home games helped them break it up. And yeah, the back-to-backs. I think that we already saw some improvement, at least at the beginning of the season. I really thought that there was improvement on the strength and conditioning. There was way less injuries this year. There was a couple serious ones that probably would have happened whether or not strength and conditioning was shit or great. But less injuries, less little things. They did not seem to look gassed as often, or very often at all. People playing more minutes than normal, like look at Olivier. His minutes were spread out a little bit more even. But in these back-to-backs, I don't know what it is. It's kind of the same thing with like on the road stuff. Like is sleeping an issue on the road? Is sleeping between like 2 nights before and the next game an issue? You gotta just chug a bunch of caffeine or something. Who knows? Like, but that's got to improve in some way, shape, or form. And yeah, I I can sit here and be a armchair coach, an armchair GM, and try to say what I think would do. But I'm really curious as to how that's going to be addressed because it's one of the few things really holding the Blue Jackets back at this point. And honestly, the only reason that I can even sit here and complain about this a little bit is because they did so well otherwise.
Right.
Like, so love to see the improvement for this last season. Definitely an improved team. But now in Evanson's second season, he has what season to look back and go off of on his own plan and move forward.
All right. On to the next slide. Zach Werenski, he really stepped it up. He just did. He just played outstanding. We've always known that Zach Werenski's been an awesome player for the Blue Jackets. Always good. We've always known that. You like the Blue Jackets. You watch the games. You see it. You know Zach Werenski's a good player. But for this season, for whatever reason, we don't know why, but he just really stepped it up. He took it to a whole new level. Just outstanding. That basically was the best season that you've ever seen from a defenseman in Blue Jackets history right there, because Zach Werenski had 23 goals, 59 assists for 82 points, and he was a plus 12. He represented the Blue Jackets at the Four Nations tournament. He played awesome, and the 23 goals that he scored set a new Blue Jackets record for most goals by defensemen in Blue Jackets history. His 82 points tied Panarin for second for most points in Blue Jackets history. Now, something to consider here is before Werenski did that, Panarin had the first two spots. He had 88 points and 82 points. So Werenski tied the Panarin's second spot for 82 points. So
Panarin was a forward as well.
Yeah, right. Panarin was a forward, not a defenseman. So Werenski, he was just so damn good. He just really stepped it up. And another big thing is he's effectively the captain by default now. I know Boone Jenner is the captain, and I like Boone Jenner, and he will always be the captain as long as he's with the Blue Jackets. But from my perspective and many other Blue Jackets fans' perspective, Zach Werenski is basically the captain now for the Blue Jackets because he really stepped it up. When Eric Gudbranson gets hurt with an injury, not his fault, because I remember I was at that game against the Sabres. The Blue Jackets win that game 6-4. And what happened was, it's a puck thing. It's like in the Blue Jackets, I want to say offensive zone. And Kent Johnson slips and falls and just goes hard into Eric Gudbranson. And Gudbranson couldn't really do anything to stop it. And he gets hurt and he's out for a good chunk of the season. And he's a big vocal leader guy. So he was out. And then Boone Jenner gets hurt in training camp. So big hole from the leadership standpoint. Someone needed to step up and take that spot and fill in. That's exactly what Zach Werenski did. He stepped it up and became a big-time leader, a big-time captain, and he's basically the captain at this point. Once Boone Jenner, in the event that Boone Jenner is not on the Blue Jackets anymore, Zach Werenski is your next captain. That I'm calling it now. Zach Werenski is your next captain. When Patrick Laine, that bum who's playing awful, which is great to see. But when Patrick Laine made those awful comments about the Blue Jackets, Zach Werenski was really there to step up and defend the Blue Jackets and his teammates and the city of Columbus and basically put Patrick Laine in his place. There's many other moments too where Zach Werenski really stepped it up big time as a leader, really good on the ice, a lot of good off the ice stuff too. He was just outstanding. And now it's like, where do you go from here? Where does Zach Werenski go from here? How does he build on that? Because what he did is just ridiculously good. And now it's like, how much better can he be now? Where is he going to where is he going to go now? What's the next step for him? That's what I want to know. And it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. So Zach Werenski, you played awesome. You really stepped it up and it was really great to see. And he got so much national attention because of that. You should have been paying attention to him before that because he's awesome, but I get it. The Blue Jackets are a smaller market team, so they're not going to get as much attention as other guys, but he's getting the attention now. He's in the Norris Trophy conversation. He's going to be one of the top 3 guys for Norris Trophy. Great to see. So shout out to you, Zach Werenski, for playing awesome. You really stepped it up for the Blue Jackets, and you had an outstanding season. So we'll get you in here, Hefty Duck, and share your thoughts.
We all knew it. We all knew Zach Werenski was an all-star. He has been for a while. We all knew he had greatness in him, but holy shit, dude. How did he do what he did this year? It's unreal. I mean, he really took the reins on this one, and I mean, best player on the team. There's no doubt about it. 81 of 82 games played, 23 goals, 59 assists, plus minus of 12. I mean, he's a defenseman. He's on the ice a lot. I'd imagine. Let's see his average time on ice. He ranks number 4 in average time on ice. Do you know who the only 3 with the average time on ice is before that? Jet Greaves, Merzlikins, and Tarasov. So yeah, obviously the next 3 are defensemen as well. I'm Provorov, Fabro, but 26 minutes and 45 seconds on ice average. So that's almost 3 minutes more than the next defenseman in Ivan Provorov. There's a reason he's getting those. There's a reason that he's this guy, because we can talk about his goals and assists and those points all you want, but let's also look at the top blocks on the team. Dante Fabro had the most blocks with 136 blocks this year. Zach Werenski, 131. Werenski doesn't kind of throw as many hits, I think, ever since like the kind of shoulder injury from last year or the year, or technically the year before, whatever. But yeah, he kind of leaves that up to Olivier and Aston Reese and Corrali. And but who's number 1 in takeaways? Obviously, he's a defenseman, but 49 takeaways. Next up is Kirill Marchenko with 36. And yeah, we'll just ignore giveaways. You can look that up yourself. It's not very good. But but in any case, like across the board, is one of the most well-rounded players, overall players that the Blue Jackets have ever had. Ever. Because all these forwards did a great job, but did that forward make 131 blocks? I mean, I don't think Artemi Panarin's out there doing 131 blocks in a year. I'm not even gonna look it up. I don't give a shit. But seriously, it's unreal. I think he was nominated for. I don't remember what he's nominated for. Not the Masterton. That was Monahan. Anyway, overall, great guy. Did a lot for the community. He did a lot for the community as well. Norris contender. And, I wish that the fans could vote and just vote him in with the season he had. Unreal. Real quick, I just want to mention his last few seasons as well. Let's mention last season, because last season he had the most points in his entire NHL career. He had 11 goals and 46 assists for 57 points. He exceeded that by 25 points. He had had one 20-goal season in 2019-2020 when he played 63 games. It was a really impressive 20-goal season. Other than that, this has been his breakout. I mean, he's got some penalty minutes. He doesn't do that too much. So out of his 23 goals, 17 of them are on even strength. So huge ups, huge props for Zach Werenski. Love to see it. Blue Jackets need to do whatever they do to honor this man. And what you said about the captain, so in a way, I kind of was thinking about it how like so the Army ranks, if we were to go back, who's the captain? If Boone Jenner's being the captain, he would be first lieutenant. He is the next guy, next ranked below captain. Blue Jackets, military, gotta bring it up every now and then.
That's right.
And he is absolutely next in line for that. I don't think that I would really be sad to see anything with Boone, because he's got the love of the fans. Boone Jenner's got the leadership qualities. He does exemplify many things Zach Werenski does too, but having someone who can like literally pick the team up on his back and carry them to a better season, unreal. Love to see it, Zach Werenski. So that's kind of my thoughts on him in this season. As far as like a season grade, I mean, I'd have to give him an A+. He's the best on the team.
Yeah.
He gave it his all. I don't think there's anything more he could have done to do better this season.
So, all right, on to the next slide. Adam Fantilli just really stepped it up this season. Just played outstanding. He was awesome. 31 goals, 23 assists for 54 points. He was a +4. He had 2 hat tricks. And it's not just that he had 2 hat tricks. He did them in 2 of the toughest places to play in, Toronto and in New York against the
Yep.
Rangers. And it's not just that he did it in the 2 of the toughest places, Toronto and New York. In both those games, Adam Fantilli just cooked their ass, just dominated them. The Blue Jackets won the game in Toronto 5-1, in part because of Adam Fantilli. The Blue Jackets win the game in New York against the Rangers 7-3 because, well, Adam Fantilli basically played a big part of just destroying them, dominating them, cooking their ass, just domination. So that's what makes the hat tricks even more impressive. Oh, he also had a hat trick in the preseason too against the Capitals. So in total, three hat tricks. Pretty good. From the month of January until the end of the season, he just played outstanding. He really stepped it up, especially when Sean Monahan goes down. And if you're being honest with yourself, that's a oh crap moment. Uh-oh. What are the Blue Jackets going to do? You don't have Sean Monahan, and he was been your awesome number 1 center who had played really good and was just outstanding. That first line with him and Kirill Marchenko and Dmitry Voronkov, outstanding. It was the best line all season long. The analytics back this up. It was just ridiculously good. And then Sean Monahan goes down, and you're like, uh-oh, what's going to happen? And Adam Fantilli, you took this opportunity and you ran with it. You just did outstanding. If you didn't know that the Blue Jackets didn't have Sean Monahan to an injury, you would just assume that Adam Fantilli is their number 1 center, and that's just the end of that. But they didn't have Sean Monahan, and he stepped up, and he just played outstanding. Really awesome. And that is the moment where he really took off. That is the moment where he really started to shine, when he really stepped it up. Because even when Sean Monahan came back from the injury and Adam Fantilli went down to the second line center spot, even when that happened, Adam Fantilli continued his outstanding play. And from that point on, for the rest of the season, it was really, if you're playing the Blue Jackets, that was a pain in the ass to play against. When you have Sean Monahan playing really good on the first line with Kirill Marchenko and Dmitry Voronkov, and then you get Adam Fantilli playing on the second line with Boone Jenner and Kent Johnson playing really good. Just like, and then their third line, the fourth line was pretty good too. It just made it that much harder. And because of Adam Fantilli's awesome play, it just made the Blue Jackets that much better. Like I said, he is a future star in the making. He just is. You know, that 2022-2023 season was awful. There really wasn't a lot going on there from the Blue Jackets. Mostly bad, some good stuff, but it was mostly bad. But you get Adam Fantilli out of that, so it's not all bad. And now we're really starting to see him take that next step. We're starting to see him be what he has the potential to be, what he can be. Just outstanding. You know, I like the Bengals, and years ago they didn't have a very good season, but then they got Joe Burrow. And as soon as they got Joe Burrow, you could really start to see make a difference to where the Bengals slowly over time got better and better and better. And then they went to the Super Bowl, and then AFC Championship game, and now they're considered one of the better teams in football and considered a team that, hey, this team could make the playoffs and win a Super Bowl because of a guy like a Joe Burrow. That is what as of right now, that's what I'm seeing from Adam Fantilli. He's that kind of a guy where he could be the Blue Jackets version of a Joe Burrow. Just that ridiculously good. And if you were playing the Blue Jackets this season, 9 times out of 10, you better hope that Adam Fantilli does not score a goal. Because if he did, generally speaking, you were going to lose that game because the Blue Jackets were 22-1 when Adam Fantilli scored a goal. I will say that again. The Blue Jackets were 22-1 when Adam Fantilli scored a goal this season. So basically, 9 times out of 10, that was almost a guaranteed win for the Blue Jackets when Adam Fantilli scored a goal. Just ridiculously good. And I'm just excited to see where he goes from here. What is the next step for Adam Fantilli? How does he build on that? Where does he go from here? I'm just excited to see, and shout out to you, Adam Fantilli. You just played outstanding. You really stepped it up big time. You were an awesome player for the Blue Jackets, and you have a bright future, and I'm excited to see where this goes for you next season and beyond. So we'll get you in here, Hefty Duck. Your thoughts on Adam Fantilli?
Yeah, no, I'd love to see him in his first full season. I mean, obviously we saw an okay sample size last year. The injury that took him out was a freak accident. Not only did he recover from that, but I think he's very young yet. He's still in his early years of his career, and just realistically, this kid's going to be probably one of the best players, if not the best player, the Blue Jackets will have ever had in the history of their franchise. And that's no shade at all to Rick Nash or like Artemi Panarin, those kind of guys. Because when we let's do a little comparison here real quick. So, whoops, let me get these straight on my computer real quick. Adam Fantilli this last season. Come on. Okay. It's not too far off from the one and only Connor Bedard. And Connor Bedard has a extremely important position with the Blackhawks, because unlike at least with the Blue Jackets having like Sean Monahan, I don't know the Blackhawks really have anyone playing above Bedard. I don't know why you would either. I mean, he's an incredibly talented player, and I'm not trying to throw shade at him, but just comparing these two couple top draft picks. Bedard had 67 points this year. That's 13 more points than Fantilli. Do you want to know who had more goals? Adam Fantilli. Adam Fantilli had 31 goals to Bedard's 23. Now, Bedard had 44 assists. It's nothing to sneeze at.
Wow.
And the plus minus isn't always the best stat, but if it's like really high or really low, there's, it's just very telling to me.
Yeah.
Fantilli had a +4 this year. So, and he played a lot of minutes. That means a lot. That means he was back checking, forechecking. He was playing some defense. Because otherwise, his plus minus would be something like, I don't know, -36. And that -36 is Bedard's. Once again, Bedard did get more points. Fantastic player. Just throwing this out there because they happen to be in the top of the picks those 2 years ago. But absolute bombshell player. He did good to play 49 games last year, and in that he had 27 points. So he doubled his points from last year, which is fantastic, in only 23 more games. So I think that guess how many faceoff wins Adam Fantilli had this year? It's a really good amount. It's exactly 420. Yeah, so can't wait to see what he does next year. I only imagine his points going higher. I mean, to be in your first few seasons getting 27, 54 points, that's big numbers. That's big numbers for the Blue Jackets. That's big numbers in the NHL. But for a second-year player, huge. After coming back from injury as well. Um, the hat tricks, awesome, amazing. It's more than anyone else on the team, including the top goal scorer and Kirill Marchenko. Love to see it. And this is the future face of the franchise. I do believe this is the future captain of the franchise event at some point. He exhibits those qualities so well. Always sticking up for his teammates. I'm pretty sure that he had to get told to like let other people handle it because he's the first one in there. He's the first one grabbing a collar, not afraid to do what he needs to do to not get pushed around the ice. And he's showing that very well. I think that he's taken a page out of Kent Johnson's playbook this last year too, putting on some muscle, putting on a little bit of weight, and not getting pushed around. I'd love to see it. Can't wait to see what he does next year.
And Adam Fantilli, I kind of ran out of room here for my little slide here, but something other to mention is that actually it's two things to mention. Adam Fantilli did something in Blue Jackets history that only Rick Nash can say, which is this. There's only two players in Blue Jackets history that have scored at least 30 goals in their second season. And that's Rick Nash and Adam Fantilli. So when you can say that you've done something that only Rick Nash has done, that's pretty damn good. That you are basically with one of the best players in Blue Jackets history. You've done something that no one else other than Rick Nash has done. Rick Nash and Adam Fantilli are the only ones that can say that they've scored at least 30 goals in their second season in Blue Jackets history. Another thing to throw out there, Adam Fantilli, he is the first player in the 2023 NHL draft class to score at least 30 goals. No one else has done it except for Adam Fantilli. He has just been so awesome. He's just been really stepped it up. He's been really fun to watch, and I'm just excited to see where he goes next. What's his next step? How does he build on that? Where does he go? Matter of fact, before I left for my most recent trip to Columbus, when I saw the Blue Jackets play the Capitals, and I did an Ohio State baseball game too. And I remember that, it was the game against the Sabres, and I'm watching it. And I'm watching the game, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I got to get an Adam Fantilli jersey when I'm in Columbus. He's just that good. He's just stand it out. He stands out that well. And it just got to the point to me where I'm like, I have to get his jersey. I have to. No questions asked. I'm going to get it done. I'm going to get his jersey. Generally speaking, I really don't do that. I just get blank jerseys because I like that better. But Adam Fantilli is the exception to that rule. I just had that feeling of I have to get his jersey when I'm in Columbus. And I did that. I got an Adam Fantilli outdoor game jersey. So I had to get his jersey, and I did, because he's that guy. He's that good. He's that special. And you already, I'm going to Blue Jackets games this season. You already see it. There's Fantilli jerseys everywhere. Obviously at the team store, but when you're actually at the game, it's everywhere. People are wearing Adam Fantilli jerseys. Whether that be, I've seen this. I have seen a, Adam Fantilli Michigan jersey. Just a Adam Fantilli Blue Jackets jerseys everywhere. There's Marchenko, there's Zach Werenski, and there's other guys too. But I saw many Adam Fantilli jerseys. I saw many people wearing Adam Fantilli jerseys because he's the guy and he's really stepped it up. He's so fun to watch, and it'll be interesting to see how this goes and where does his future go? Where does he take that next step and how does he build on that? Because he has just been so fun to watch. So, another thing to talk about is this. The Blue Jackets also did, they're good at scoring goals, but they had 5 guys who scored at least 20 goals. 5 guys who scored at least 20 goals. And those guys were Kirill Marchenko, Adam Fantilli, Dmitry Voronkov, Kent Johnson, and Zach Werenski. Just ridiculously good. And honestly, you could have made the argument that the Blue Jackets could have had 7 guys of scoring at least 20 goals. Who are those other 2 guys that could have been there? Matthew Olivier had 18. Sean Monahan just missed it.
Yeah, if he would have played a full season, he would have guaranteed have got it. Yeah,
Yes.
because he had 57 points, 54 games. If he kept on that pace, he would have been like 2 or 3 points ahead of Werenski.
Yeah.
And Matthew Olivier, that's not a name you would think to hear in this conversation very much, but he's there.
Yeah.
Can he get better?
Yes. So the Blue Jackets could have had 7 guys who scored at least 20. Didn't happen because Sean Monahan got hurt and that got in the way of that. Matthew Olivier just missed it by 2 goals because he had 18. But they still got 5 guys to score at least 20 goals, which was just awesome and just great to see. And just showed that, yeah, the Blue Jackets are good at scoring goals this season, and they have so much excitement and potential to do even better than that, to build on that. And it's just going to be interesting to see how this goes for next season and beyond. So that was cool.
Yeah.
Anything to say on this, Hefty Duck?
I was just looking through the statistics of other of some of the top teams in the NHL and about how many 20 goal scorers they have. And I don't have the exact number as to I was just glancing through real cursory, but 5 20 goal scorers is going to get you very far, and having people close as well too. Just looking at like Tampa Bay Lightning, they have 6 20 goal scorers. It drops off after that. Next closest is 15. And kind of same thing with Washington. They have a lot of 20 goal scorers, a lot. So they have, let's see, 7. And then after the 7, it drops off pretty heavily. So seeing that kind of like steady decrease after the 20 goal mark is nice, because that just could mean, and like I said, Monahan would have 100% easily gotten it had he been in the whole season. But yeah, no, that's what it takes, and you need those 6 to 8 20 goal scorers on a team. That's what it's going to take to get to be the top of the NHL, to be the top in the Stanley Cup playoff brackets. Because yeah, those are 2 of the top teams in the NHL that I just mentioned. I think Toronto has goals. They got 6. So yeah, one away from the top teams. Now obviously there's different positions that maybe need different work, like goals against kind of stuff like that, but they're right up there. That gives me a lot of hope, especially after looking at the stats last year. And can I just say again, I'm so glad that we're not talking about the freaking draft lottery.
Well,
Like
tech-
that shit. Oh.
technically they're still in it because they didn't make the playoffs, but their chances aren't very good. But it's still there. It's just not as big of an issue.
It's not as prevalent, yeah. But anyway, yeah, just love to see it.
But
can't wait to see these guys what they can do next year.
I mean, that still is a thing because as of right now, the Blue Jackets, if the draft was today, the Blue Jackets would have the 13th pick in the first round.
Mhm.
Now, obviously, that can change with the whole lottery thing. They could go down, they could stay the same, they could go up. So we'll just see how that goes. But as of right now, the Blue Jackets have the 13th pick in the NHL draft. They also have Minnesota's first round draft pick, and the Wild are tied up at 2 with Vegas. I've been watching that. That's been a pretty good series there in Minnesota. It's been playing pretty good there. So is Vegas.
Yeah, a conditional pick?
No, we get theirs. It's
you just get it. Okay.
We just get it. So, depending on how well Minnesota does, that'll be another thing of where that will be. But we're getting 2 first-round draft picks. So
yeah, I mean the first round, 32nd draft pick is still an amazing.
Yeah,
going to be an amazing player. I mean, generally speaking,
the Blue Jackets already have one of the best prospect pools in the NHL, and now you're having 2 draft picks that you get to add to that. That's awesome. I'll take that. So that's that. Now, I'm going to put this up on the screen, which is this. So I saw this on Twitter. This is from the people. This is Lauren Rodowitz.
Yeah,
I think I said that last name right. She is the social media voice of the Blue Jackets. If you see the Blue Jackets post something on social media, that's probably her. So she posted this on her Twitter page, and I thought this was perfect for our season review show, which is this. Game 82 of 82. Never been more proud to be part of this team, a team that truly felt like family. Heart emoji. Grateful to have been able to showcase the resilience, fight, heart, and of course, the fun, goofy moments too of CBJ this season on the ice and on camera. Get ready for us next year. And I thought that was a perfect way to summarize it, is that there was so much positivity and so much positive energy and just positive momentum that happened this season for the Blue Jackets that they built on. And now you just get into next season ready to go, build on all that positive momentum that you did this season, and just see how far you can go. That's truly how I feel, and I thought this was a good post here. So, Hefty Duck, your thoughts on this?
No, it's awesome. I love seeing a little bit of behind the scenes stuff. You can see one of the former social media marketing people their comment, proud of you, Kei Tsukamoto. And yeah, it's just cool to see. There's a lot of people. It takes a lot of people for these teams to grow and be successful on and off the ice. And yeah, while social media may not necessarily help how they're going to play on the ice, getting fans excited can definitely change the mood and the vibe of everything. And it's nice to see just a little bit of that.
So next, I'm going to be sharing a post from Brian Giesenslaw, which is, he posted this recently. Really tough to put this season into words. Out of tragedy, something really beautiful came together in Columbus. Thank you to the Blue Jackets. Thank you to the fifth line. And here we have pictures right here said, for Johnny and Matthew Gaudreau. Picture of Nationwide Arena. Look, there's that little Christmas thing that you've posted a picture in front of, Hefty Duck.
Yeah, the home thing. Yeah.
And so there's that. And then another picture before the game. This is the day of the Blue Jackets revealing their outdoor game jersey. So that's Brian Guillenslaw and Jean-Luc Grandpierre showing it off on TV before the game, the pregame show. And a picture from the outdoor game. So overall, pretty cool there. And again, another post that I think that was well put together by Brian Guillenslaw and perfectly described how I thought the season went. So, Hefty Duck, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I love to see it. It's definitely it's the easy thing for this season is looking back and seeing how good Blue Jackets did. The hard thing is looking back and seeing kind of why they did what they did, and where it started from too. Just small example of the Fort Johnny and Matthew Gaudreau sign there. And kind of what the Blue Jackets were going up against. It wasn't just NHL teams. It was, their own minds, mental health, and their own battles with whatever. And so, I love Brian Guillenslaw. He's awesome. I think he's a voice for the Reds as well too.
Yeah,
so you guys are lucky you get to hear him down there for that this year.
Yeah,
with this, all these seasons.
Yeah, he does the pregame and postgame show for the Reds and does a real good job with that too.
That's cool. That's really cool. He does the two sports. But yeah, and also too, just seeing these pictures from them, from things that meant things to them personally, people who were there, every single night in and out.
Yeah.
So love seeing it.
Right. So next thing I would like to talk about is this right here. I found this picture. This picture on Instagram here. I'm going to share it. Zach Werenski from the outdoor game, and this is the picture I used on the slide earlier from Zach Werenski, but I wanted to share where I got this picture originally from the NHL Instagram page. I saw that, and that was a cool picture, and I just had to share it. Now, next, I like to say, okay, where do the Blue Jackets go from here? We've talked about what they were good at. We've talked about what they need to improve on. But where do the Blue Jackets go from here? What is that next step? Where do they go from here? And how do you build on that positive momentum and all that positive energy that you had this season that you built? Where do you go from here? Now, obviously, the big thing is you're going to have to get better on defense. So that means either you're going to have to trade for someone, get someone in free agency, or the Blue Jackets do have some good defenseman prospects coming up. So you probably want to get some of those guys in there as well. You need a solution to the whole goalie situation. What's that going to be? Is it going to be Jet Greaves, Danil Tarasov? Is it going to be Jet Greaves, Elvis Merzlikins? Is it going to be Jet Greaves and no Elvis Merzlikins, no Danil Tarasov, and you go and trade for someone, or you go get someone in free agency? What does that look like? Because that is a thing that has to be fixed. The Blue Jackets cannot be in a spot where they were this season, where you're really good on offense, but then your defense lets you down a game. Even the Blue Jackets had games where they won like 6-4 or 7-6 stuff like that. It's good that you won those games, but it didn't have to be like that because unfortunately your defense gave up some goals. So they're going to have to fix that. Where do you go from there? Your thoughts, Hefty Doc.
Yeah, no, I mentioned something earlier in the show that I'm going to bring up again, and that is the remnants of seasons past. Less talking about the coaching. I mean, maybe I'm talking about some of the coaching because the special teams need some work.
Yeah.
So we can kind of look at that and who the staff might be coming in for something like that, because just something needs to happen, and you can. And players grow and get better, but you need someone to lead them that way. So, but then also talking about Jarmo Kekalainen, and yes, there was many great players he picked up. There was also towards the end of his tenure, there was also some questionable moves and maybe some interesting signings as far as contract lengths and sizes of contracts. So I'm really curious what Don Waddell is going to do to kind of take control fully of the team. I mean, he's got control fully of the team. He did that in the offseason last season. He started to make his moves. But now, being able to look at this past season, looking at what worked, what didn't work, and how to move forward. And I'm just thinking that some of those remnants are going to be swept under the rug a little bit more this next season. Some guys are cooking. The Cleveland Monsters back in the playoffs again. Obviously, they're doing great again. There's plenty of guys there who are capable of moving up and filling in a spot if there's injury. The competition for spots is only going to increase. I absolutely love seeing how they're going to do that. And I guess I mean, there's there's a lot to talk about, and we'll talk about this in future episodes. But the last thing I'm going to mention is that the Blue Jackets, while they currently have um, 3 buyout and cap charges, they currently have 0 retained, and they can really weaponize. They have 3 spots of retaining salaries, and we're going to see some moves this offseason. We have to. You know, and looking at like even players like LeBanc, who is the UFA, and he was ended the season injured. He's 29, going on 30. What will we see from him? There's UFAs after UFAs. There's RFAs. There's going to be so much to talk about this summer. It's not going to be boring at all. So, I can't wait to see what happens. I'm excited either way. Either way, meaning like I'm excited if I don't know. Sometimes you're just going to see your favorite player get traded. Sometimes, you know, your captain has to go somewhere like Nick Foligno. It sucked. I love Nick Foligno, but I don't know if there's many better players to lead someone like Connor Bedard than Nick Foligno, honestly. So, in any case, I'm looking forward to shedding the past and putting on the future.
So the Blue Jackets posted this on their all over social media. So it says, and it's a little video. It's got music in it, so I'm not going to play the music. But it says, bounded by loss, inspired by resilience, strengthened by adversity, united by the sport I love, by the sport we love, to the fifth line, our community, our partners, and the entire hockey world, thank you. And again, perfectly summed up by the Blue Jackets. And you can, we're just going to let this video play here. Again, there's music in this, so I'm not going to, play it. If you want to see the full video with the music, go to the Blue Jackets social media. That's where it's going to be. So you want the full video with the music, go to the Blue Jackets social media page. That's just how it is. Do not want copyright issues because you're playing music, so we're not going to do it.
That's the way
But-
she goes.
But I really enjoyed this video. This was a cool video here.
Hell yeah.
And then the sound isn't working on my computer, so I'll have to wait till next week to play the owner video of the new owner that the Blue Jackets are getting. So,
Oh yeah.
oh well. All right, on to the next thing, which is this. I saw some jersey concepts recently that I saw for the Blue Jackets. The Blue Jackets outdoor game jersey has been a popular jersey to make jersey concepts for. So basically, people taking the Blue Jackets outdoor game jersey and making their own little different takes on it. So the difference here is this person right here added a little white stripe to go with the silver and another red stripe on the sleeves right here, basically. So I thought that was pretty cool. What you
Yeah, that's
thinking here,
cool.
Hefty Duck?
I like it. I like the idea of it.
So
I do like
that's-
the original, but I like
Yeah.
seeing these edits like that.
But wait, there's more. Okay, so that's what the whole. So he changed the socks. So give it this with the blue and a red stripe to go with the silver. Red stripe on the pants. So there's that. Let's see here. He also did a white version of this where, again, so a white version, silver stripe, a white stripe right here, white blue numbers outlined in red. That's pretty cool. I like this. What you thinking here, Hefty Duck?
I like that a lot. I wouldn't be opposed to these. The Blue Jackets going in a new direction with just their general uniforms.
Yeah.
But it would have to be something like about as cool as this.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like, and I could also imagine. I mean, them editing these jerseys, the outdoor jerseys, a little bit too,
Yeah.
and like maybe kind of combining like that Canon logo with the old one, where there's like a circle around it, but
Yeah.
it's like keeps the same colors and vibes as the outdoor.
Right.
Just to change it up, just because like that was a specific jersey meant for that like one thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I'd love to see him be able to use it a little bit more.
All right. So next one. Okay, that's just that. Okay, that's a Canucks one. Go back. Okay. So let's see here. I'm gonna share this tab for a sec because I saw another Blue Jackets one here. Where? Ooh, right there. So,
Ooh, that's like almost what I was talking about.
if it's
Like
show,
kind.
come on, show up on the screen. There it is. So basically, it's the same guy who did the other jersey concepts. He basically took the Blue Jackets outdoor game jersey and used the Blue Jackets third jersey colors, which I like. I think this is cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and that's a little bit what I was talking about, like kind of combining it with the other one. Now, I do like the red, white, and blue colors, although I like these as alternatives.
Yes.
I'm not. I like the silver in the jerseys because I think it's kind of a unique thing that I haven't seen done very often or much at all with any NHL jerseys.
Right.
But I like the solid color here too. I
Yeah.
like just that solid blue. And I like the addition of the silver kind of around the cuff.
Right.
So that's neat.
So, now one thing interesting to note here, there is a difference. I just noticed this. The other one that uses the blue, red, white has the normal logo as the shoulder patch. This one uses the shoulder patch from the outdoor game jersey and uses their jersey colors.
Yeah, like with the cross sticks in the CBJ. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. So there's that. And I think is that it. Let's see here. Okay. See, there's the difference right there because it's a different shoulder patch. But and the pants and all that. Yeah. All right. I think let's see here. What does I'm going to put this up on the screen here, which is this. Let's see. What does Adam Fantilli have to say about what he's going to get ready for next season? The Blue Jackets
jersey up.
What? Oh yeah, I gotta remove that. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
I gotta put it up on the screen here. But what does Adam Fantilli have to say? Because he was asked about what he wants to work on for next season in a press conference. And this is what Adam Fantilli said. I'm going to put it up on the screen. Adam Fantilli said, quote, in the offseason, obviously I'm going to be working as hard as I can to come back and be even better than I was this year. Great to see that he's just going to work his ass off and be ready to go for next season. So it'll be great to see what he does in the offseason and how it works out for him. And when he comes back next season, what he looks like. So that's just going to be great to see. Oftentimes it's like guy comes back and, maybe he's taller. Maybe he put on some weight in a good way. Maybe he put on some muscle in a good way. And, he improved his skating, or he improved his defense, his offense, or his shot, or some blocking shots, or power play, or skills, or something. So it'll be interesting to see what that is for Adam Fantilli when he comes back next season. Like, what did he work on and how did he get better? So I saw that and I had to share that right there. And let's see here. I think I got one more thing to share here. Let's see. Okay, we'll put this up on the screen. So at the end of the season, the Blue Jackets have a Paint the Ice event for season ticket holders. So here's some pictures of just what different Blue Jackets fans painted on the ice. We have a cannon shooting pucks, and it says CBJ and a bunch of other stuff. So that's cool. Hey, if this happened, I would take this in a heartbeat. God damn, please make this happen. I'll take this.
But painting of the Stanley Cup 2026 for our audio listeners.
Yeah, it's a picture of a Stanley Cup, and Stinger is in the Stanley Cup, and it says 2026 Stanley Cup bound. So please happen. I would so take that. So that'd be cool. A little tribute to the Blue Jackets outdoor game, because here we have Stinger, we have Brutus, we have the shoe, Columbus against the world, and it says CBJ, and then there's a red heart outlined in blue with blue numbers for Johnny Gaudreau. And I thought this was cool. A little tribute to the Blue Jackets outdoor game. This is a little crowd shot of what it was like that day at the Paint the Ice season ticket holder event. So that was cool. So that's cool. So I think that is it for now. I'll share my stuff and then we can get out of here. So first things first. Like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please tell your family, please tell your friends. That would be greatly appreciated. Like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And as I always do, got to give a shout out to my awesome Uncle Doc, a good guy, life of the party, always fun to talk to, always fun to see at family get-togethers and family parties and Christmas and Thanksgiving and Easter and so much more. You were a big hockey fan. Love talking hockey with you. You were a big Blackhawks fan, but the Blue Jackets became your second team because of me, and you supported the Blue Jackets, so thank you for that. I appreciate that. That you supported the Blue Jackets. You know, wish you're still here so I could talk some hockey with you and I could get your thoughts on how you thought the Blackhawks season went. And I could tell you my thoughts about how the Blue Jackets season went. But unfortunately, you're not here anymore. But thank you, Uncle Doc. Rest in peace. Thank you for everything. And shout out to my awesome Uncle Doc. Thank you for everything.
Oh, yeah, rest in peace, Uncle Doc.
And one last thing for me is check out Union Blue Soldiers. Check out Union Blue Soldiers. Check out Union Blue Soldiers. Follow us on social media. We do cool marches, you know, like this. Wait, that's not what I wanted to do. That is not what I wanted to do. Come on.
Bingo card right before we end, huh?
Yeah. Like we do cool stuff like this. That was a video of the Union Blue Soldiers March. Every year we do a cool march, and it's a lot of fun. So, you know, check out Union Blue Soldiers. Check out Union Blue Soldiers. Check us out on social media. Come join us for our marches every year for the Blue Jackets home opener, and we do one if the Blue Jackets make the playoffs. So check out Union Blue Soldiers on all social media platforms. Join us for the Union Blue Soldiers March. The next one, this is going to be this upcoming October. This upcoming October for the Blue Jackets home opener. So check out Union Blue Soldiers. Follow Union Blue Soldiers on all social media platforms. Check out Union Blue Soldiers. So that's it for me. So we'll get to Hefty Duck. He can talk about his stuff, and then we can get out of here.
Sorry. I'm going to be yawning so much. Yeah, this has been yet another broadcast of the Brew Jackets podcast. Thanks everyone for listening in or watching, wherever you're watching or listening from. Yeah, let us know what your off-season predictions are in the comments. Tag us in any sort of if you want to talk a little shit, tag us on Twitter. I'm down.
Mhm.
We're down. I'm fun. It's fun. But yeah, let us know your favorite moment of the season in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you're at. So just because the season's over does not mean the Brew Jackets is taking a break. We do not take a break. We just go straight through every week. With the rarest of exceptions. So we will be back here, same time, same day next week. We'll be back at Sunday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern, and we'll have another show. We'll have we still got a lot to talk about with this last season. We got to talk about contracts. We got to talk about strategies, a little bit more of what to improve on or what's going on, and of course, there's going to be moves and everything. We'll go through player grades and stuff like that. So, thanks for joining us once again, and we will see you next week.